it's me, Kat, and I'm back. I normally talk about spirituality. I'll do an oracle card reading, a tarot card reading, but today I wanted to talk about something a little bit different because this is something that a lot of people deal with, and I deal with it too. And I actually discovered how to deal with said situation because of delving into trying to get rid of what I felt like was a really heavy feeling around me. And someone had suggested taking a bath with Epsom salts and baking soda and sea salt. And I did that, and I noticed that it helped my psoriasis. Your girl's got psoriasis, but I'm actually doing really, really well. And when I last saw the dermatologist, she said to me, she said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Share this. And I do have a few friends that have psoriasis, and I've talked to them about it, and they tried biologics, they've tried a few different things. They're like, I can't go vegan, Kat. No, I can't. I actually, when I went vegan, it wasn't a choice because I was leaning toward, because I do love animals, don't get me wrong, I do love animals. I was having all sorts of reactions to different foods, and it would pop up in my skin, and it would make my stomach bad. So let's talk a little bit about your body and how it can react to different foods and how mine was reacting, because I'm finding a lot of people that are suffering with the same thing. So if I have something with gluten in it, it's not like it's going to make me violently ill. I don't have celiac disease. I have an intolerance. I technically have what they call a sensitivity and intolerance. Okay, it's not going to kill me. Celiac disease is really awful. I know people that have it. I have one of my students' siblings had it, and he was violently ill, and they were really, really scared for their child. And let me tell you, I was scared along with them, because this is years ago, of course, but I don't have my own children, so I considered all of my students like my kids. And so, even their siblings, because sometimes they would sit on the lessons, and it's just like, you're my kids. And celiac, wow, really, really, really awful. So my heart goes out to everyone that suffers with celiac disease, because it sounds absolutely atrocious. It's not what I have. But again, it's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable, and I get really, really, really itchy. You really need to pay attention to the ingredients and things that you probably wouldn't expect. I started having a psoriasis flare-up, and you'll see me scratching, so I apologize, but I'm really, really itchy. And the reason why I did is because I grabbed a creamer that is made with oats, okay? And oat milk is the new thing, right? So I figured, well, I didn't see anywhere that it was gluten-free. So I was just like, oh, okay. So I was using it, and I'm like, why am I so itchy? I turn it around, I look on the back, and I'm like, oh, this isn't gluten-free. It says may contain wheat. Are you freaking serious? So pay attention. So even if you're looking at something and you think that, if you really need to be gluten-free, check the ingredients, double check those ingredients. I had grabbed a bag of gummy bears once because it said they were vegan, but they had wheat in them, and I was so itchy. So wheat and gluten for me is more of it makes me so itchy. So I'll be sitting there and I'll go like this. Although, kind of a funny story. So I'm going to digress just a little bit. This is on my birthday years ago, back when I was teaching at a school. Okay. So I was really, really itchy, and I know that I had, my dad had gotten me a cookie or something, and there must have been some gluten in it, so I was kind of itchy. And my students, love them so much. Someone gave me a cupcake. And I'm like, oh, thank you, right? Never crossed my mind that I needed to tell anyone that I have a gluten sensitivity, but I'm like, it's my birthday. I was gonna go on my way to a 30 Seconds to Mars concert right afterwards, and so I eat the cupcake during my break, and I'm like, oh crap, I think there's gluten in here. I start getting itchy. All right, so I'm getting done with the day. I'm pulling everything into the car because I need to drive 3 hours to get to the concert. So I look up in the mirror, and I'm like, I had something like right around in here moving around, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, oh my God. The reason why my head was itchy, because my cat gave me fleas. I literally fleas hopping around in my head. So embarrassing. So that was not psoriasis. But so if you feel something moving around in your head, psoriasis isn't going to move around in your head. I had to deal with fleas before because I've grown up with cats and raccoons and dogs and all sorts of creatures. God, the goat used to come into the house. So, yeah, that's a whole different YouTube video. So had to deal with that before, and quite honestly, when you wash your hair, that will really get rid of the fleas. Trying to remember what my mom had us do. Oh, we lived in an area where we had really, really hard water. So quite often we would do a rinse with vinegar. So using either white vinegar or apple cider vinegar to kind of cut the soap to get it out. And I think that actually assisted some of this, I didn't know it then, assisted in that getting rid of the psoriasis. And that is something that I do quite often. Okay, so with psoriasis, it's about finding some natural products that are going to help you instead of putting a lot of chemicals on you. You know, if you have psoriasis all over your body, obviously talk to your dermatologist. You may find that a biologic will work for you. This is apple cider vinegar and water. So this much water, so that's about, what, 500 milliliters of water. And so that's about 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And I just shake it up and I spray it onto my head, and I let it sit there for about 20 minutes to a half an hour. And then I'll shampoo and condition and do all that good stuff. Every once in a while, I will do an apple cider vinegar rinse at the end, before I put conditioner at the ends of my hair. And I will let that sit in there for a little bit. Use a shower cap to keep it on there. And then you can rinse it out a little bit, but you don't have to. I don't always rinse it out. And then I just put conditioner on, going from here to here. And I'll get my bangs, of course, a little bit. Okay, so we're going to jump right on into some products that I like to use. I am not in any way affiliated by any of the products that I'm going to talk about today. One of the first things I need to talk about is a scalp scrubber. Excuse me. It doesn't matter what kind of scalp scrubber you use, but it does matter that it has this little prime right in here. Okay, so because what I have is more center right in here and at the top of my head, I'll just go right for it, and I'll just, actually it feels really good too. And actually, I've heard, I always watch get on Hair Talk every once in a while to get some ideas. That by doing this, it actually stimulates your hair growth And I actually do believe it because my hair has been growing like crazy lately. And I will sit here and do this if I start to feel that I've got to build up. But the apple cider vinegar actually helps to dislodge it. So if I don't use apple cider vinegar, sometimes I will put a little bit of coconut oil on my scalp. I can't sleep overnight with the coconut oil. It starts to irritate me if I have it on too long. And my hair is pretty fine. So I can't really leave it in for very long. But if I have that on for about 20 minutes to 45 minutes or so before, it does help to kind of loosen it up. And of course, I warm up the coconut oil. I put it in a teeny tiny little glass bowl that I put inside of a pot of water that I heat up on the stove. Just kind of, let it cool down a little bit. You don't want it to be too hot because you don't want to burn your scalp. But get it into all those spots, especially where your psoriasis is worse, and that will help to loosen it up so you can dislodge it to have it come out. And I know there's some great videos if you like watching those things. I never thought I would get into that, but quite honestly, Dr. Pimple Popper, Dr. Sandra Lee, I am addicted to watching these things now. Oh my gosh. But the funniest thing is, years ago, talk to your dermatologist. Okay, so I had these bumps right in here. We didn't know what it was, so I went into the dermatologist. Turns out that I had some precancer stuff that had to be removed. Not too much of a big deal, but he had to dig in there and really take it out. So the guy that did that was Dr. Sandra Lee's husband, because the first time I saw her husband on her TV show, I'm like, that's the dermatologist that I had when I was in Philly. Are you freaking kidding me? Love it. I love her. She's awesome. Absolutely fabulous. She's a wonderful doctor. So, and I do suggest actually watching some of her TV shows, especially the ones where she is talking to people that have psoriasis, because she does talk about the different biologics. But and write down the ones that she suggests and talk to your dermatologist. See what they have to say. Sometimes if it's really, really bad in your head more than anywhere else, sometimes it's a good idea to actually talk to a trichologist. I had a wonderful gal that used to do my hair in Philadelphia, and she noticed that I had some spots right in here, and she would massage my head, and oh my gosh, it felt so good. I miss her. And she said it looked like that some of my hair up here, of course this is a layer, was becoming a little stiffer, and it was a little crunchier. And I was like, well, what is going on there? And she said, well, you've got some spots of skin in here, and it looks like it's, she's like, I'm not a dermatologist, but I do see a lot of heads of hair. And she said, from what I've learned, it is a buildup of protein, and it tends to kind of look like what you've got looks kind of like you're a mermaid. You've got like a little scales in here. I'm like, oh, great. But quite honestly, she said, go talk to your doctor, maybe test your blood levels, check your vitamin D. My vitamin D has been low my whole life. It is a constant battle. And it's bizarre because I spent a majority of my life outside. So, and actually because of spending a majority of my life outside, and I didn't always wear sunscreen. So, that's why I'm finding spots now that are precancerous that need to be removed. So I highly suggest finding yourself a really good SPF. I didn't bring it out, but I have one that I use by Alba that I really love. It's like 50 SPF. They also make one that's 30 SPF, you can use on your face, and they do have body sprays, and their Super Goop is great. I love that too. But I'm going to kind of concentrate on the hair thing, because a lot of people are like, but you have psoriasis, but your hair is so long. And I think, quite honestly, some of the things that, you know, nutritionally, what I've gone to and things that I do use in my hair have been really helpful. The apple cider vinegar is one of them. The other thing that I make is rosemary water. You'll see this all over Hair Talk, let me tell you. I have rosemary shrubs in my backyard. So I will, I think it's really dark. It will darken your hair, by the way. I just put it in some boiling water, let it simmer for about 20 minutes. This one's simmering for about 40 minutes. I got sidetracked into working on some things, and I was like, oh my gosh, and it really boiled down. But it's okay. You know, it's just really, really strong. So because it's a natural, you know, ingredient, so to speak, it's actually better to keep the rosemary water in the refrigerator. And so when you spray it on your head, it feels so refreshing and it's so good. And it smells really good too. So it's not something that you need to actually rinse right out of your hair. You can actually just keep it on there. It really seems to calm down any itchies and things, so it does help quite a bit. Now, I have talked about these products in the past, and I'm going to talk about them again because I love them. Again, I hope not sponsored by Pacifica, but anyone who walks into my bathroom is like, it looks like a Pacifica commercial in here. I love their stuff, and this shampoo is awesome. This conditioner smells so good. I only use it on the ends. I might use a little up in here on my bangs, and every once in a while what I'll do, because it's got there's no silicone in this, and this is actually good for your scalp, but I don't use a whole bunch of it on my scalp. I will kind of dilute it in water a little bit. Oops, there's a little water coming out of it, and I'll just go in with my fingers and just get a little bit on my scalp. And it does seem to help. Because if I put too much in, then it just kind of feels like really sticky and weird, and it does not feel good. My mom, I didn't bring it out. My mom got me this shampoo. It's called Moroccan oil. It's in a blue, one's in a blue bottle and the other one's in a white bottle. And it comes with the set came with a little spray. It's like a little leave-in conditioner spray. That has been amazing. I love it. I love it so much. The other thing that I use, and I love Derma E. I discovered Derma E back when I was working in a health food store. And I just, the packaging isn't the greatest. It's really hard to get. It's really stiff, as you can hear. So it's almost easier to like tip these upside down and put them in a little bowl or a little something that you can scoop it out to use it. And I had to do that about 2 summers ago because I broke my wrist and I couldn't really scrub my head normally. So I found that actually it's easier with this because it's really, really tough to get out. It's actually put it into a bowl before you try to use it because it's tough to get out of there. So when I'm shampooing my hair, I go around all the edges in here. And then I'll go here. And I go in circular motions. Right. And then you need to make sure that you're getting the back in here. And that gets, so if you ever watch some of those scratching videos where people were pulling the psoriasis off, you'll notice how it comes out in like one big chunk when they're combing it through. I did that once and I got so grossed out and I'm like, I can't do that. But the scratching, honestly, I did it myself. It feels good, but I think I would rather have someone else do it to me, right? And you go around in all your spots, and you can, go in at full. Go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. And keep going in circles as you're doing it. It would take me too long to do that. But I did want to also talk about skin besides hair. But a lot of people do ask me about hair because mine has grown like incredibly. And I think some of that is diet, and I will talk about that in a little bit. I tend to use a few different implements, so I don't use the same thing every day. I'll use a different washcloth every day. My mom made me this. Isn't this cute? There's another one that's green with a little pink hook on it. It's so cute. I love these. You know, wash rags, you might think it's old-fashioned, but honestly, it's better to use something new every day that's clean, that's not harboring bacteria. I do use a sea sponge, but I will spray it with a mixture of water and tea tree oil and a little bit of alcohol in there. You squeeze it out really good before you do that, and it will get rid of any of the ickiness that's left on there. And I do use a back scrubber. There's two different sides. So one side is smoother and one side is stiffer. So this is great. So I've got some scales popping up on my back, and I'll hit it with that. And the soaps, the one with nature has got several different kinds. This is the activated charcoal, as I said, is great. This is great to use, especially in the summertime. And I'll hit areas right in here. I'll hit my face with it if I start to feel like I'm getting a little bumps on my face. There's one that's sandalwood that smells really, really good. And my new favorite one, peppermint. Yes. This is very invigorating, and using the peppermint, and you scrub your feet really well with it. I do not have psoriasis on my feet. I have keratosis on my feet. So I'm afflicted with a few different things. And I have keratosis on my hands as well. So if you see me walking around, if you live near where I do and you wonder why I'm doing this, that's why. It's because I'm having a flare-up. And because I do work outside with animals, and after I use something like a hand sanitizer or any kind of wipe that has alcohol in it, it tends to make me flare up a little bit. So that's why when I come home, I like using these soaps to help to calm things down an awful lot. And if you want me to talk more about the keratosis, I can, because I have something very different that I actually do for my feet. But I just wanted to focus on psoriasis today. So the other thing that I have noticed that I think has actually been really helpful, and I didn't really bring one, well, I actually have one right over there. I sleep with a silk cap on my head now, and you can get them on Amazon, and I think that's been helping because I wake up and I'm not so itchy. I used to wake up like constantly just skin on fire, scalp on fire, and you know, it would just go like this, and it's so embarrassing, and I'm not going to talk about it, but it you know, it's gross. Watch the scratching videos, you'll get it. And I think just for whatever reason, the natural fabric helps. It really helps. It helps my head to be able to breathe, and then my I'm not sweating so much in these spots right in here, which if I have my hair in a protective style or up or braided or something, then I start to feel like I get more of a hairline in here. And so I try to do them loosely, but doesn't always work out the way that I wanted it to. So, and you can tell I'm itchy because I had the creamer in my coffee the other day that had the wheat in it. That is why. And lotions. There are different creams that a dermatologist can give you to use. I tend to use things by, I think my favorite one, and I didn't actually bring it here, is by Alba. They have one that's scented and one that's unscented. I think the unscented one works a little bit better. It's a little bit richer for whatever reason, and there's no perfume in it that's gonna irritate my skin. But it seems to be the original scent. It does work well, but I tend to be a little bit itchier afterwards because I do notice, I think there's something about the perfume in it that just irritates my skin a little bit. So I don't use a lot of Bath and Body Works, but I will use the hand sanitizers. But I notice, of course, my hands are a different story, because that's a keratosis. It's different from the psoriasis. Again, different products can cause different kinds of flare-ups. And so it's the same. These things go into your bloodstream, and as I tell my students, anything that you put on your skin or your face, your skin's going to eat that up. So be careful with the products that you apply. I encourage everyone to go cruelty-free. You don't have to, but I do encourage people to. And you'll find quite often when you go towards those product lines that are cruelty-free, I can talk. When you do go towards those lines, you're going to find that they're more natural. They have vegan ingredients, healthier ingredients that are good for your skin, and looking for not as many ingredients in your skincare products. There are, of course, if you go on TikTok, you'll find a plethora of ideas for how to make skin things, and I've tried some of them. Quite honestly, that would be a whole different video, because no one believes me when I say that I'm in my mid-50s. No one believes me. They're like, yeah, right, that's really funny. How old are you? Like 30? Like, I've made so many new best friends lately. Like, no. Quite honestly, the flax, letting it simmer a little bit, and I think it has helped with the psoriasis as well. It turns into it looks like dog snot. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like slobber. And the idea of putting it on your face is like, ew. But you have to remind yourself, it's from the flax seed. It's not actual dog snot that you're putting on your face. So it's a completely different video for another day. Not that I really want to talk about dog snot, but it happens to me a lot. And actually, the products that I use on my face. Okay, so let's talk about that for a little bit, because I go towards very natural ingredients in the makeup that I use. I use a lot of Pacifica. I use the ELF. I use Red Apple. They're gluten-free brand, and then they make lipsticks, and they make eye makeup. What else do I use? I feel like there's another brand in there, and I'm forgetting it right now. Oh, I do use CoverGirl for foundation sometimes, because it has a little bit more of a coverage than I've been able to find for other things. A lot of other people like NYX, and I've used NYX before, but I find that sometimes, I think there's some ingredients in there just don't agree with my skin. My skin's a little more on the sensitive side, so I need to be careful with that. But the products that I do use on my face quite often are by Pacifica, or by another brand called Andalou that I discovered when I was working in a health food store. Andalou is another really, really great company. They're cruelty-free. A lot of the ingredients in there are very, very natural, and they're actually fruit stem cells. So really kind of fascinating when you start to do the research into fruit stem cells. It's really cool. And it works really well. And as you can see, I tend to go towards the retinoids, and those tend to be really, really helpful. And even with the Pacifica, I use one that is a few different things that they make. So there's one It's got mushrooms in it, and it's got a little bit of melatonin in it, and it's their retinoid. So they've got retinoid cream, they've got the serum, they've got the wash. I also do use something in the morning. It's like maybe 3 times a week that I'll use it. It's a, again, this is by Pacifica. It's a vitamin C. They've got the serum, they've got the wash. The wash has turmeric and C and all sorts of cool stuff and vitamin C in it. And there's a cream for, moisturizer. There is a collagen SPF if you want to use that. I do use the Alba SPF. I also use a few other things by Alba that I really, really like. There's bromelain, a little bit of bromelain in it, which is really good to bring down inflammation. It's pineapple wash. It's great. It really, really is. And they also make a scrub. So when I use the facial scrub, I don't just get my face. I go back in here. I go back along my neck. I go back along in here to try and get rid of any of the little scalies that are popping up. And it really does help. And I think there's a little silicone. It kind of like the scalp brush, only it's smaller, and you can use it on your face. And I will go along my hairline, all in here. And I use this too for the same thing. And it does tend to break up anything that's kind of building up in here. And it'll just kind of like, if I don't wash my hair that day, if I go like this, it kind of gets rid of things. I know it's kind of gross. And a lot of people are kind of shocked because I don't really wear black very much anymore, because I was kind of embarrassed I was having some situations happen where it was just embarrassing that, I was like seeing like dandruff, what I thought was dandruff falling on me, but it wasn't dandruff. And I'll tell another really kind of a funny story. This is back when I was teaching privately. A little hole in the wall. Every once in a while, we would go do these functions, and my ex-husband at that time was promoting other bands, and so we would go, and I would take photos, and I had been taking a bunch of photos, but my head was just on fire. This is before I became vegan, and I was just so itchy. And I remember talking to someone, she's like, you don't have, you teach kids, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, do you think that you have lice? I'm like, go, Lord, no. She's like taller than me. She's like looking down. She's like, I'm not seeing anything moving. I don't think you have any hair pets. I'm like, I run into the bathroom, and I'm like going like this. I'm trying to see if I have any hair pets, any lice in my hair. I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh. And it looked like dandruff, and it was more concentrated over here. So it was just sort of like, and I was noticing that weird thing is, I was going gray. And I haven't dyed my hair now for years, and somehow I'm getting my natural hair color back. I think that might have actually something to do with the rosemary, and the Moroccan oil also makes these deep conditioning, hair depositing, color depositing, and that's been helping to kind of remove my grays. So I haven't really had as much of a problem with that lately. But I was in there, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, shut the front door, I can't handle this anymore, right? And I just started scratching my head. And I was like falling on the floor. This girl was walking in, she's like, you okay? I just needed to scratch my head. And then she asked me the same question my friend asked me. She's like, you teach kids. You're the one that teaches the kids, right? She's like, you got hair pets? I'm like, no. It's a different kind of It's like happening. It's like, did you lose your contact lens? Do you need some help? No. I was so embarrassed. I'm like trying to like hide that fit. I had these like patches of skin that were seriously falling onto the floor. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I thought it was like a leper or something. It was really embarrassing. It's psoriasis. That's what those of us that have psoriasis have to deal with. It is no fun, let me tell you. And what I get every once in a while is like a buildup, and it's not actually wax. It gets like into my ear, and I have to go around. So I don't actually put the, because you know, your doctor's gonna tell you, don't put a Q-tip in your ear. So I don't put it in my ear. What I will do, and this is what has really helped me, I will take the apple cider vinegar and I will spray it onto a Q-tip, and I will go around. And it feels really good. And you'll know the difference between having psoriasis near your ears and kind of a wax problem. So what I tend to do, and the ENT has said it's okay to do, but not all the time. I will put a little bit of hydrogen peroxide on a Q-tip, and I will go around in my ear, and that helps to kind of break up the wax and some of the psoriasis. So, you know, I will just kind of lie on a pillow and let it kind of bubble and come out. So I know it's really gross, not something people really want to talk about, and you're like, what does this have to do with the spiritual journey? Because don't you usually talk about that? No. Although, I will say this. Every once in a while, I don't have a bathtub that I can really use right now, but I will put together a little scrub with Epsom salts and the baking soda and sea salts. And sometimes I'll use Himalayan salts instead of the sea salts. And I will use that before I take a shower. For whatever reason, it's really helpful. And I think I've noticed for myself, I think the Himalayan salt, every once in a while, I'll do a scrub on my scalp, but it's not something that I do all the time. And it's not even like a once a month thing. This is like a maybe once every 3 months, once every 4 months, when I start to feel like I need to do something, because it starts building up too much. And I do it more actually in the summertime. Put a little bit of the Himalayan salt or the sea salt, whatever I have. And I usually use the fine ground. I don't use the coarse ground because I feel like the coarse ground just doesn't really do what I want it to. I'll put it in with a little bit of not conditioner, it's shampoo. I'm trying to get I'll put it in with a little bit of shampoo, and I will go in and I will just scrub using my fingers. These are great. These really are. So I will use this before I actually go in for the second shampoo, and then I will use my fingers. And I really get in there with my fingertips. It's really important to do. And that helps to kind of dislodge things and pull it out. Right. And as you can see, you can't tell. And it's really, really under control. That is why the dermatologist wanted me to talk about this. And I know this has gone on for a little bit. We're almost up to 40 minutes if you've been with me for a while here. So I really appreciate that. That's so cool. Diet-wise, as I said, I'm vegan. I'm a bit of a chegan. I still use honey every once in a while, but that is because I was suggested to do that by the allergist. So it's a local honey to try and get me to adapt a little bit more to the area, because I have been having some allergy issues. So And honey is actually a humectant, so it's also really, really good for your skin. I don't use it often, but every once in a while I will. And it does. It kind of soothes things down. It's not, I don't think it's exactly an anti-inflammatory, but I know that it's very, very healing. And I have used Manuka honey in the past. And that really helped me through a very difficult situation back in 2016. And I can talk about that a little further in another one. And that is actually when I found out that I'm a shaman. Because what happened isn't what someone normally would have happen. Okay, I'll talk about it really quickly. I was bitten by brown recluse spiders and a black moccasin. So I told one of my friends this, and she's a shaman. She's like, well, you've been initiated. I'm like, great. So if you need help with your psoriasis, your keratosis, need some help on your spiritual journey, shadow work, anything like that, I can help you with that. I really, really can. I'll put my email here so you can contact me if you want my help. I'm really happy to help with so many different things, but I'm not a doctor, so I can't help you out with anything medical like that, but I can definitely help you out with soul retrieval. I've learned how to do that. I learned a lot of different things by studying shamanism. It's not just about herbs, and it's not necessarily witchcraft, but it is very spiritual. So thank you so much for sticking around and watching. And since you've gotten this far, why don't you just go ahead and subscribe? Go ahead and share this with your friends that have psoriasis. I'm sure they would appreciate the help. Thank you so much, all of my wonderful followers. We are small, but we are mighty. And I'm here to help people. I'm not here to have thousands and billions and zillions of followers. I'm here to help. So just let me know how I can help, and I will talk about it. Okay? Thanks for watching. Bye.